The Gospel of Gold by G.S. Lewis. Chapter 31. Team Rocket's Ambition. There was a pleasant, weightless quality that came with flying on the Phoenix's back, one that extended from the mount to the riders. Having never flown on another Pokémon, neither Gold nor Marina had a point of comparison, and merely enjoyed the comfort of it. Lance, however, marveled aloud how different it was from the intense gruel of riding a Dragonite. Here, one felt light as the air in a Chinese sky lantern, whereas with other heavy flying types, every shift of weight was as prominent as the sudden lurch of a freight train. Without regular practice, both rider and steed would be worn out by the flight's end. After a minute of analogizing, he paused suddenly and sat back embarrassed. "I must ask your pardon," muttered Lance. "This is trivial nonsense. There are far more important matters to consider, and I'm wasting time on frivolous chatter."
"Nonsense?" said Spirit bemusedly. "The life-giver in heaven takes great joy in your moments of life discoveries, and they are but tokens of what is still to come."
"All right, fair enough," Lance submitted, before adding, "But who knows what tomorrow will bring if we don't prepare now?" So, thought Gold, with self-conscious amusement, this is what I must sound like when she tells me to let the moment linger. Duly noted. "Have you been to Ecruteak before, Master Lance?" asked Marina, twisting around to look at him. Her face was rosy as Gold had ever seen it. "Yes, though not for over a decade now," replied the champion. "So if you have any suggestions about where in that city we can land to avoid attention, if that's possible, I'm all ears." "Let's assume that won't be a problem," Gold said. "What are you hoping to do?" "I want to get some questions answered," said Lance, crossing his arms. "Apollo likely holds the knowledge I seek for most of them, but his tongue will be locked behind his teeth as securely as a true Pokeball. He has everything to lose by talking, and as a bloodline relative of the Blackthorn Dragon Clan, he is also practiced in the art of secrecy." Gold's mind turned to the man hanging limply just beneath them, still firmly gripped in the Phoenix's talons. Lance seemed to hold little hope of getting anything out of the Rocket executive, yet Spirit, without prompting, had taken initiative to bring him along in their hasty escape from Blackthorn City. She did nothing in vain. There had to be a reason behind it. "Lance," he addressed the champion, "I won't ask how you got so badly beaten up until you're ready to share it, but I do wonder, how did you manage to get a hold of Archer when he was in generally better condition?" "Our caregivers," said Lance, with a hastily concealed groan. "There is more to it, but that proved the difference in the end. I was past my pain threshold last night, and when Claire had me in her coils, I finally succumbed to the sweet release that oblivion brings. The sound of my name being sung brought me back." Gold turned to snatch a peek at Lance. He was gazing gratefully, almost worshipfully, at the slender, elegant neck of the Phoenix. "Before you had ever called me, Gold, she had already drawn me back to consciousness. Her song was like a lullaby, but its peace brought wakefulness rather than sleep. I was aware of my many wounds again, yet, whereas they had before been excruciating, they had become now muted." "So," Marina cut in, sounding confused, "it wasn't your bandages? It was all the birdsong?" "It was," said Lance firmly. "She can tell you. Claire certainly didn't bother giving me anesthetics." "Spirit," breathed Gold, and her head turned at his astonished voice. "You can suppress pain? Just by singing?" Her expression was impassive as any bird of prey, but he could see the joyful cheer behind her sharp exterior. He had learned to look for it.
I have withheld many of my powers, Spirit said, but the healing virtue of this music is not mine alone.
When she did not continue, Lance resumed speaking. Like I said, the difference in my condition and Apollo's came down to our caregivers. Claire only bandaged my body, but she applied all kinds of medicine and balm to Apollo's hands. I smelled it on him, and knowing Apollo, I'm certain he protested at the time. Before he forsook the Dragon Tamer clan, Apollo always avoided even the slightest risk of substance abuse. Ibuprofen, caffeine, you name it. Thus, when I came upon him, he was already deep under the influence of Claire's medication. I picked him up, and he remained fast asleep, so I carried him off.
Didn't he have any Pokemon watching over him?
Gold asked. Lance laughed. I expect he meant to, just as he meant to pass the night sober. But Claire is stubborn, as you know, and when it came to the health of her family, he stopped and amended himself with some bitterness. Her immediate family, she would not be swayed for anything. I am making a lot of presumptions, you understand, but I believe she took away the ability of his to fight back, or make his own choices while under her care. Whether she confiscated his Pokemon or knocked them out, there were none about when Dragonair led me to his room.
And all this happened before Spirit had me call out Lance's name,
thought Gold, with ever-growing appreciation.
She laid the groundwork, but she let me play a part.